And welcome to Eugene, Oregon. Autzen Stadium, home of the 121st edition of the Civil War. The Ducks 6-5, already bowl eligible, getting set to tangle with Oregon State. The Beavers have lost their last 9. Well, look at the series history, the 5th most played rivalry in the FBS. First meeting all the way back in 1894, and they have played, in fact, every single season since 1945. No surprise there. We should have a lot of fun here tonight in chilly Eugene. Really, two teams headed in different directions right now. Ducks are feeling very good now that their quarterback is back. Oregon State still trying to regroup after losing a coach mid-year.
Well, as you mentioned, Roy, Oregon's really been on an upswing of late. They're going to a bowl, and Justin Herbert might be one of the best quarterbacks in the entire country you haven't heard a lot about, but we'll talk about him today. And Oregon State's really just had a difficult time getting on track this year. 9 straight losses, a lot of injuries on defense in particular, and I think that sets up for a big day for Oregon on offense.
Well, the Ducks are led by Willie Taggart. Year number 1, he's done a remarkable job uniting this program after the Ducks failed to reach a bowl last year. By all accounts, he's got this program pointed in the right direction.
Well, he brought in Jim Leavitt, the defensive coordinator, and really helped out the defense in points per game and in total yards. Really a big turnaround, and he's brought discipline as well. And I just think Willie Taggart, you know, we've heard a lot about him, what he did at USF, but he's making his mark at Oregon now. Well,
48 miles up the road in Corvallis, Oregon. Beavers are led by the interim head coach, Corey Hall. Has yet to win a game, but Tom, he's energetic and he's ready to hype his crew up today.
Well, he is energetic. He will get them fired up. And again, in a rivalry game, anything can happen, and he knows all about it.
Now, the junior running back Ryan Nall's got to have a big night this evening for the Beavers to have a chance. And Tom, his eyes light up when he faces the Ducks. He's been remarkable in his last 2 outings against Oregon.
Well, he hasn't had the year he wanted to this year. 765 yards on the ground, but boy, when they play the Ducks, Roy, he has been tremendous. A year ago, 4 touchdowns rushing in their victory over the Ducks up in Corvallis, and in 2015 he rushed for 173 yards and a touchdown, so he is geared up for this game. I expect him to get the ball at least 25 times today.
He's a power running back, and he expects to have a big night here in the Civil War. Royce Freeman, of course, the senior, has smashed so many records for the Ducks. You see the production, Tom. There may not be a better running back in college football right now.
Well, it might be Willie Taggart's best recruiting job was to keep Royce Freeman on the roster, and again, that 30 times he's been over 100 yards. That's just an incredible statistic.
The Civil War getting set to kick off. Temperatures in the mid-40s. Emotions are running high between these two old rivals. Will it be the Ducks or the Beavers? Kickoff here in Autzen Stadium is headed your way next. Tyrell Crosby, Royce Freeman being honored here as part of senior night moments ago. With Tom Ramsey, Roy Philpott, Oregon has won the coin toss. They will receive. And for more on the Ducks quarterback, Justin Herbert, Alex Cordry on the field. Alex.
Thank you, Roy and Tom. Well, once known for being soft-spoken and shy, Justin Herbert has really broken out of his shell this season. Willie Taggart says his sophomore quarterback's a stud. He says it's been fun to watch him become so mature. In the 5th game of the season, Herbert fractured his left collarbone, and the Ducks went 1-4 without their starting QB. He returned to action last week and picked up right where he left off. Taggart says Herbert's injury and the time missed showed how much he meant to this team.
Thank you very much. Charles Nelson from the 6, driven down to the 22. That's a return of 17.
After the play, unsportsmanlike conduct, kicking team number 3. That 15-yard penalty will be enforced at the end of the play. First down, Oregon.
Brandon Arnold, the guilty party, the safety for the Beavers.
Roy, it's just spectacular when you look at the numbers with Justin Herbert. And think about this, the weeks he was out and the lack of production. And then the funny story, when Willie Taggart told us yesterday, when he came back in the first play of practice, he ends up throwing a dime, 60 yards to Dylan Mitchell, and the whole team went crazy.
Play action, Herbert has his man, first down plus territory, shoved out of bounds after a nice pickup of 18 yards by Sean Wilson.
Player, but that's my guy, Tyrell Crosby, possible first-round pick, and he's going against one of the best linebackers in the Pac-12, Manasseh Hungalu.
Crosby making his 35th start. Freeman his first touch all the way down to the 32-yard line. Our impact players brought to you by Chick-fil-A, and Freeman goes for 13.
Well, and I expected Royce Freeman to have a big game. We saw him in practice yesterday. He looks like the real deal, and they will feed him a lot today.
Right on cue, Freeman up the gut, and a punishing run for a gain of 9. Beavers have lost their last 9 games, but victorious in this Civil War affair last year by 10 in Corvallis, and that has been a priority focal point for the Ducks going all the way back to the offseason. And there goes Freeman. Tripped up short of the 10, a gain of 14, and the Ducks having their way on offense thus far.
Well, Roy, they're letting Herbert talk numbers, and Oregon State's trying to disguise a little bit. They just don't have enough guys in the box to stop the run right now.
And we've seen that on film scouting these two teams in recent days. Out in the flats, Jacob Breland. Crunched inside the 5. It'll be second down. That was Jalen Moore with a stop.
And Charles Nelson out there getting a block, all 5'8", 170 pounds.
Well, you love that as a former quarterback. Your minuscule receiver getting the job done.
False start. Offense number 68. 5-yard penalty. Second down.
Yeah, we got a chance to visit their equipment room yesterday. That was pretty impressive. Only about 100 combinations of uniforms.
I thought it was more than that. Between the shoes, pants, jerseys. They'll fake the jet sweep. Royce straight ahead. And Royce Freeman with a late flag on the field dives inside the 1 for his team this year, Tom.
Offense number 68. 10-yard penalty. Second down.
Well, they got Shane Lemieux twice now. Worried about penalty yards. 128th in the FBS. That's one spot away from the dungeon.
And ironically tied with Willie Taggart's old team, the South Florida Bulls. So we'll back it all the way to the 20 for second down. That's Breland in motion. Herbert with time towards the end zone. Pass is incomplete. Dylan Mitchell, the intended receiver. Sean Wilson in coverage. Ducks have been impressive on their opening drive. Third and goal from the 20. They'll run the tunnel screen. There's Mitchell inside. And nowhere to go. Brought down well short of the 10 by Jalen Moore. Off the right foot of Aiden Schneider. Third-team All-American 2 years ago. And right between the pipes to start this one tonight. 3-0 our score, just underway. Beautiful evening in Eugene, Oregon. As we take a look at tonight's Taco Bell student section. Taco Bell's a proud partner of the College Football Playoff. Be on the lookout. Taco Bell student section and passionate fans like these at games all season long. And Autzen is rocking. Tom Ramsey, Roy Philpott, Alex Cordry on the field. Beavers take over and brought down to the 22. A late flag on the field after a return of 19.
During the return, illegal block in the back. Receiving team, number 32. After distance to the goal, first down, Oregon State.
Making his 8th straight start this evening and facing a hostile crowd here in Eugene in the process. On the swing pass, nowhere to run for Ryan Null. Ball popped out late. And let's see what the ruling is. Lamar Winston got there. He's going to lose 7 yards.
Well, not the way they wanted to start out for sure, Roy, and that was really a dicey pass. It looked like it was even a lateral to Null. Watch it come this way. Great view. And what a great play by Lamar Winston. Just busts it up. And Null knew he might get caught for a safety there. He just tried to throw the ball outside the end zone.
From inside the 1, Null straight ahead. And grinding his gears, brought down by Jimmy Swain.
If the Beavers want to get on track offensively, they got to get the ball to their good tight end, Noah Tongiai. And, of course, Troy Dye, one of the leading tacklers in the country, top tackler for the Oregon Ducks. He has 95 tackles coming into this game. Third
down and 13 for Oregon State. Beavers 42% on third down this season. Garrettson surveying, batted down. And Troy Dye got there to knock it away. The Beavers.
Well, it's Jim Leavitt's defense. They line up 4 big guys, and then they just bring Troy Dye on a delayed blitz, and he gets right in Garrettson's face, bats the ball up in the air, and it's a good thing Jalen Jelks didn't come down with it. But Troy Dye, again, showing his playmaking ability. Did just a great play that time by the Ducks.
Arevsky backed up 9 yards deep in his own end zone. Dylan Mitchell awaits. And the fair catch called for and made. Now some of the all-time greats wear a Ducks jersey. Jonathan Stewart, great NFL career he has had, and perhaps the next great one at the next level is senior running back Royce Freeman. He returned this year here in Eugene, and boy, it has paid dividends. He's rushed for nearly 1,400 yards, and he's got a chance to set a couple of conference records tonight, Tom.
Yeah, he does. He almost got the touchdown on that first drive to tie Kenny Simonton's Pac-12 record of 59 rushing touchdowns. But when you look at what he's done in his body of work, Roy, it's just tremendous how many yards he's gained for the Ducks.
Freeman to the edge. Freeman off to the races. And sandwiched between a trio of Oregon State defenders after a gain of 22.
Tell you what, the guy I credit, Mario Cristobal, the former head coach of Florida International and the offensive line coach and offensive coordinator for the Ducks. He has gotten this offensive line to go north and south.
Freeman already with 58 yards on the ground, wide open is Nelson, and incomplete. And Herbert off target.
Taking a look at Freeman, you just see he has such great vision, and he's able to get behind the blockers, and he just knows where the crease is, and he just gets a huge amount of yards. There's a look at Mario Cristobal right there. Well, I tell you what, he makes some hay now with those linemen. They get after it, and they go after the man in front of them.
Freeman straight ahead on second down. And a short pickup. That really has been the difference this year for Oregon in the trenches, Tom. Instead of moving laterally with what they were doing the last couple of seasons, it's been more power blocking and attacking the opposing defense.
That's a great point, Roy, because, in a zone offense, when you're running spread all the time, there is a lot of finesse blocking. And Mario yesterday said, Tom, we threw the finesse out. We're going behind Crosby. We're playing some smash mouth now. And they get after it, and they just burn up yards on the ground.
Crosby accepted his Senior Bowl invitation this week. Pitch and catch. There's Freeman, his first reception of the night. It's a gain of 8. It'll bring up fourth down and short. The Ducks are going to go for it. Just 3 of 13 on fourth down this year. Big play here. Freeman's got it. That'll move the chains. Drive continues.
And Roy, let's not forget where Mario Cristobal came from. Most recently, Alabama and a national championship, and then another visit to the national championship game under Nick Saban. And I thought Willie Taggart getting Cristobal was a great move.
Freeman, plant, cut, explode. Another gain of 6, tackled by Jonathan Willis. Well, speaking of Nick Saban in Alabama, how about Crimson Tide going down in the Iron Bowl earlier today against Auburn?
Tough place to play.
And some movement.
Delay of game. Defense number 97. Simulating the snap count. Pass the distance to the goal. Second down.
Difficult, and Alabama lost. Bam.
Freeman, inside handoff. Down to the 1. Well, the intriguing component of that game down in Auburn earlier today is now maybe we have a 2-loss team in the college football playoff, which gets everybody up in arms, and we'll see how the committee treats Alabama, given the fact that's the lone setback for the Crimson Tide this year.
I think Nick Saban really was worried about that game. When you look at that schedule they had, and Gus Malzahn, he was playing. I thought he was coaching for his job.
Big rivalry there. Another big one here with the Civil War. Freeman, end zone, touchdown! 59 career rushing touchdowns. He has tied Ken Simonton for the all-time lead in the Pac-12 with that march right there. It's a 47-yard drive, 39 on the ground gain by Royce Freeman. Schneider's extra point is true.
And again, they run behind that big left tackle, Roy. They get an extra blocker on the edge. Royce Freeman makes it look easy. Getting over for 6 for the Ducks.
Tom Ramsey, Roy Philpott, Alex Cordry on the field. Fantastic to have you with us. Fantastic evening for college football. Playoff is quickly approaching. Games concluding as we speak. Ducks are 2 for 2 tonight with their possessions. Tripped up short of the 20. Beavers lost 3 yards on their first possession. Null straight ahead across the 20. And a gain of 3.5 yards on first down. And Oregon State will take that. Time to try to get that power running attack going in the right direction.
Well, they just want to get positive yards and get something on first down so they get into third and manageable, Roy. Just the way they started with a 7-yard loss on the first series was just detrimental to them having to punt the ball out of their own end zone.
Beavers won this matchup last year, 34-24. That victory ended an 8-game skid in the Civil War Series. Garrettson with time, pass is caught, reception made by Hodgins. Thomas Graham brought him down, but that'll move the chains. An important pitch and catch for the Beavers as we check in once again with Alex.
Well, Roy, what a week it's been for interim coach Corey Hall. Not only has he been preparing his Beavers for their biggest in-state rival, but he's also been fending off questions about his future in Corvallis. And not to mention, on Monday, Hall and his wife Sarah welcomed a new baby boy to their family, Isaiah Bernard, his 8th child. So not much sleep for the interim coach.
I mean, literally no sleep when you think about it. Off play action, Garrettson has Hernandez. And did the ball pop out? Ducks say they have it, and they do. A costly turnover for Oregon State on the Beavers' second possession of the night.
Rolling on the field, completed pass and fumble, recovered by the defense.
Well, Garrettson gets the ball out to Timmy Hernandez, and then the ball comes loose, and Thomas Graham, the corner, fights off the block, and we're likely going to review that to see if his knee was down. And
rolling on the previous play of completed pass, fumble recovered by the defense is under video review.
Well, take a look. Hernandez spins out, and then Amadi appears as though he gets him on the ground, but you know, that angle you really can't tell when the ball pops out. I think Amadi might have punched it out.
Nothing there to overturn the call in the field.
No, it's a tough one. You almost have to see it from the Oregon bench, and I'm sure, wow, that right there, see where the knee is, and we're looking right there, and the ball comes out, but his knee might have been down. This might be, we've been pretty good all year long on these. I think they may overturn it, Roy.
After review, really on the field stands. First down.
I agree with that.
Yeah, I mean, it's, to be minus 11, 122 in the country, you can't get out of your own way.
So the second possession starting in Oregon State territory. Play action for Herbert down the field, nearly picked off. Looking for Johnny Johnson there.
Yeah, Johnny Johnson, the ball gets tipped, and that's why he didn't catch it. And it was a nice play by the defensive back. Really the linebacker, Ogwebu, on and off the field, getting into different personnel groupings and really causing some confusion for the defense.
Jalen Redd in motion, jet sweep. And the Energizer Bunny shoved out of bounds short of the 20. Tony Brooks-James, the Oregon running back. Freeman will get a breather. Ducks already with 9 first downs tonight. And Brooks-James with a crease and upended. After a gain of 4, Sean Wilson brought him down. Near side run. Brought down to the 14 by Ukwebu. That's a gain of 4, third down upcoming. Well, the Ducks have so many weapons in the backfield. It's not just Freeman, but also Brooks-James. Some young talent. Brooks-James, a redshirt junior out of Gainesville, Florida. That's a common theme with this program, especially now with Willie Taggart as the head coach with his Sunshine State ties. Empty backfield on third down. Herbert surveying, extending, running, flag on the field.
Personal foul, illegal low block, offense number 20, back towards his own goal line. A 15-yard penalty, third down.
So Tony Brooks-James gets caught blocking below the waist outside the tackle box, and that's a good call by the referees. Herbert getting out of bounds.
Taking place tonight. And already a busy Saturday afternoon. Herbert on third down. Looking deep. Fires it long. Pass will be caught in the back of the end zone for the touchdown. Dylan Mitchell, his third scoring grab of the season. Tom, that one coming from 29 yards out, and he was able to sneak that foot in at the last possible second.
Well, third down, and that is just a great catch by Dylan Mitchell. And Roy, the ball was late coming out. Not on time by any stretch by Justin Herbert, but boy, you saw his arm strength right there. He just throws a fastball to the back of the end zone, and only his man can catch it. Mitchell makes a spectacular catch for the score.
Already 3 grabs for over 50 yards for Dylan Mitchell, the sophomore out of Memphis.
Third down and long. And watch the ball. Justin Herbert surveys the field, goes away from the 3-receiver side, and just laser throws it to the back of the end zone. And he's the first one there to greet Dylan Mitchell. That's a great catch, though, staying inbounds at the back of the end zone.
Now, Willie Taggart did such a phenomenal job rebuilding USF down in Tampa, Florida. Tom, you get the sense he's doing the same thing here. And I asked him, what's been the one thing that's been best about coaching here in Eugene? And he said, honestly, Roy, Tom, Alex, it's been the buy-in of his players. That they fully bought into his process. And tell you what, when Herbert's been healthy this year, the results speak for themselves. When he hasn't been, it's been a different story.
Well, and to your point, Roy, the first guy he got to buy in was Royce Freeman. And when he bought in, a team leader bought in.
Hawkins from inside the 5. Nice stutter step. And ushered out short of the 35-yard line. Change is on the horizon, my friend.
The mighty fall.
Beavers take over. Flag on the field is Thomas Tyner, former Duck running back. Picks up 10.
Yet another flag. Getting a little sloppy here.
There is no foul for illegal formation. The result of the play is first down, Oregon State.
So the first carry of the evening for Thomas Tyner, the former Oregon running back. Tommy's believed to be the only player to score a touchdown for both Oregon and Oregon State, going all the way back to the 1800s. Number 4 in white, 5'11", 232-pound senior. Battled injuries in his career. Could have a chance to return for a 6th year of eligibility if he wants it. And Tyner far side into plus territory. Well, Thomas Tyner, we take you back just a couple of years ago, 2013, scoring a TD against the Beavers, no less, Tom.
Yeah, Tyner, boy, he's a great player. 10'3", 100-meter guy. I mean, he's a guy at 223 pounds, Roy. Once he gets going, he's dangerous, and he can catch the ball out of the backfield as well.
He's been with the Beavers program for a couple of months. 2 carries, 18 yards thus far tonight. On second down, Tyner again weaves his way for a positive gain. And out of the Wildcat, Ryan Nall straight ahead will move the sticks. Ducks with a 3-man front. Play action for Garrettson. Looking deep, has a man, Hernandez near the goal line. Touchdown, Oregon State!
Caught him again, and pretty much it was zero coverage, so they didn't have any safety deep that time, and Hernandez able to get by his man, and Garrettson with a nice throw and nice catch.
43-yard scoring strike. Oregon State on the board.
I've taken a look, and from ground level, nice little play action, and then they just have man-to-man on the outside, and Garrettson gets the ball out far enough, beats his man Graham, and nice look that time by Timmy Hernandez, getting up, catching it. We're going to throw everything we can at the Ducks, and that time they caught the Ducks in an aggressive defense and capitalized on it.
Nelson from his 4, an explosive returner. Nelson with a crease, keeps the play alive. And Nelson, lasso from behind, just short of the 40-yard line. That's a return of 35, fitting into his regular season career here tonight in Eugene.
Yeah, Royce Freeman probably has the app too.
He'll fake the jet sweep. Herbert to the air, wide open. Oregon, pass is reeled in just short of the 10-yard line. He bobbled it for a moment, and Johnny Johnson and Jalen Redd were both running free in the area, and it was Redd that hauled it in. Tom, that's a gain of 49, under 30 to go here in our first quarter.
Boy, Willie Taggart opening up the playbook as well.
Freeman lost the football, and the Ducks got it back.
I think Crosby, the big tackle, might have recovered it. No, Freeman got it. What a throw by Herbert on that play before. Willie Taggart, the play caller for the Ducks. On occasion, he'll go to his other coaches if he needs a play call.
What a start it's been for the senior running back, Royce Freeman. He's tied the Pac-12 touchdown marks on the ground. Oregon State trying to hang tough with their bitter rival. Well, Jalen Redd moments ago, Tom, just his 5th reception of the season for 30 in green, but what an effort to just simply track it down and then hang on tight, hitting the turf simultaneously. Back now to live action across the middle for the touchdown, and that's Jacob Breland. 5th touchdown of the season for the tight end, Jacob Breland. And the Ducks striking quickly this evening.
Second catch of the night for Breland, and boy, Roy, the ball comes out so fast out of Justin Herbert's hands, and 7 of 10 tonight, 125, couple touchdowns. Willie Taggart getting the kick of that play call on the sideline. That is a sharpshooter throw again.
Schneider on for the extra point. Well, there's a lot to like about Justin Herbert's game. He can spin it. He's 6'5 and a half, 230 pounds. Tom, he's just a sophomore from right here in Eugene as well.
Well, you know, he gives me a little bit of a reminder of someone like Matt Ryan with the Atlanta Falcons. The ball, but he's bigger and a little more athletic than Matt Ryan. The ball just comes out so fast out of his hands, and he's a young man. He's still learning. He missed 5 games this year. When he's on the field, and we saw what he means to this team, but when he's on the field, they're knocking on the door to 50 points a game when he's on the field, and that's spectacular right there so far. Great decisions by him. 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, and you know, when you're clicking along at a 70% clip, that's pretty darn good.
You want to think about stars returning in the Pac-12 next year. This is one name you want to familiarize yourself with. Khalil Tate down at Arizona. There's other weapons returning in Washington and Colorado at quarterback. But this guy, sneaky good already. He's going to be really good next year.
This guy is going to be on the national stage for a lot of big awards.
Think about it for a second. Everybody was talking about Josh Rosen, Sam Darnold this year, and rightfully so. Next year, as we begin to look ahead, there's a lot of returning weapons in this conference at quarterback.
Yeah, I think all 4 of those young guys are really leaders of their teams. They have all played spectacular at times, and you know, when you watch these young players develop, really they become the face of the program. And I mean, Steven Montez in Colorado, he had a career game last year here at Oregon when CU beat the Ducks. Threw for over 400 yards.
Tyner in motion. Will fake the inside give. Garrettson down the field surveying. Villeman Could not bring it in. Just short of the 30-yard line. And he lost control of his body at that last second, working against Springs.
Yeah, just really hard to track the ball when you're running full speed, but Villeman's such a nice target, 6'5", 222 pounds.
We'll see how deep in the playbook the Beavers want to go. Here's Nall. Finds some running room. Crossing the 30. Must win tonight. Beavers need 2. Nall straight ahead. Brought down behind the line. And that's going to bring up 4th down. Jonah Moy got there first time.
Jonah Moy came into this game with 6.5 tackles for loss, and that's one thing that this gambling defense and tenacious defense is all about. They're going to tackle teams behind the line of scrimmage, put them in really tough situations. And Oregon State, what they need first downs. They need to move the chains and keep the ball away from this high-powered Oregon offense.
Mitchell awaiting this punt from the Beavers. End over end, a low-line driver. Takes a sharp left turn.
Third down, over 218 yards of total offense. And Justin Herbert, 2 touchdowns so far, and I expect a few more tonight.
Worst starting field position for Oregon. Taj Griffin, far side. Ducks have made it a point since last offseason to try to exact revenge against this Oregon State team. And rivalries all across the country taking place. Far side toss for a nice gain on 2nd down. Down to the Palmetto State, always a heated rivalry, as is this one. Freeman picks up the first down. Hang on. Against a nationally ranked opponent on the road. Tigers could be ranked, on the ACC that is, #1, depending on what happens the rest of this weekend.
Tough game for them, right? I mean, that's a big rival game for them.
Brooks James changes direction on 2nd and long. Ball popped out. We've seen a couple of times already tonight where the football has slipped from both Royce Freeman and also Brooks James.
Progress was stopped prior to the ball coming out. 3rd down.
Well, Jonathan Willis just hammered Brooks James. Watch Willis. He gets a late shot, then Brooks James kind of goes over backwards. Ball came out. Whistle had blown.
Well, some of the great Oregon State head coaches going back to the late 1990s with Dennis Erickson, of course, Corey Hall, the interim head coach. And Tom, we asked him this week, what's going to happen Sunday? And he kind of laughed about it. He's like, we really don't know. We're recruiting, and Oregon State coaching search well underway. And perhaps Hall's not retained, and it appears as if he will not be as the head man. He's got staying power either as a coordinator or as an assistant. We will find out. Of course, tonight could have a lot to say about that as well. On 3rd down, Ducks need 10. They'll set up the screen, and here's Freeman with a running lane. Freeman's got the first down and a punishing hit just short of the 40-yard line. That'll move the sticks. You see the numbers on Freeman, breaking records left and right. Schooler has it, near side grab, shoved out short of the 10. First reception for Brendan Schooler, the sophomore from California, and that's a gain of 33.
We were walking through the Ducks facilities yesterday. There's a lot of Marcus Mariota memorabilia, tributes to him, but right there, Schooler, a former safety last year.
Here's Freeman with a pad, touchdown! And that breaks the record. No one has scored more rushing touchdowns in the Pac-12 than Royce Freeman, and Mama pretty emotional about that last touch.
Well, again, to pass Kenny Simonton in career rush touchdowns is remarkable. And I go back, Roy, to the conversation we had with Willie Taggart yesterday, and I said, "Hey, Willie," I said, "Really, he was your top recruit, wasn't he?" He said he was, and I said, "How'd it shape out?" And he said they just had a conversation, and he just really got to know each other. And then when Royce Freeman, when Coach Taggart went down to L.A., he gave him the commitment. He said, "I'm coming back, Coach." It was a pretty happy day for Coach Taggart, but Royce Freeman, going over again, doing a great job following his blockers and great downfield blocking. I think his vision is so good. Again, the Ducks take the lead 31-7.
Hawkins 2 yards deep. A little trepidation exiting the end zone. And he is hit hard just past the 20.
During the return, holding receiving team number 18. 10-yard penalty. First down, Oregon State.
A little back, the Beavers up 10 more yards, but the story thus far, Royce Freeman, 12 touches on senior night for 92 yards and 2 touchdowns, Tom.
Well, we thought he might get after it on senior night. He was closing in on a lot of records, and boy, he's done just that. He's surpassed Kenny Simonton to be the all-time rushing leader for touchdowns in the Pac-12, and just remarkable play by Royce Freeman, putting up huge yards and a great average.
No. Creates a running lane as we check in once again with Alex.
Well, after scoring both rushing touchdowns tonight, Royce Freeman celebrated like they were any other touchdowns. It was just back to business as usual for the veteran running back. Something that Willie Taggart pointed out about Freeman is that his goal was to make sure this program was headed in the right direction. And the senior is helping them do just that, guys.
After the play, unsportsmanlike conduct. Offense number 18, his first of the game. After distance to the goal, second down.
The flag on Timmy Hernandez. But think about it, Roy. He's closing in on 31 100-yard games. That's a month of 100-yard games. 1 month.
Well, it seems like he's been here forever. I love the demeanor, though. All business. He's got work to do, not only here in his final game, but at the next level, coming up next summer for the NFL draft. And tell you what, he passes the eye test. When you see him field level, he's got 2 huge tree trunks. He'll get after it.
Yeah, when you saw him yesterday, you were like, wow, I had no idea he was that big. I mean, he is a thick dude.
Garrettson with time and delivers a dart on 2nd and long. Tyner lines up in the slot. And they love the jet sweep. Here's Tyner, the former Duck, corralled and driven down.
Boy, and Jimmy Swain has been playing so well, Roy. You know, he started the season off down the depth chart, and number 18 just comes, and right there also Fotu Leato. I didn't recognize him tonight. He usually has a huge head of hair coming out of that number 19 jersey. He's got it braided tonight, but Swain has been instrumental in the rise of this defense for the Ducks this past season.
Yeah, Leato Jr. Fake punt. Pass is caught. Can he get to the 6? I don't believe so. Amadi sniffed that one out, and the Ducks take over.
Well, Oguchoku Amadi makes a great play. He just heads up. He sniffs it out. He runs across the formation and is able to make the tackle before the sticks, and then the Oregon sideline explodes again.
Well, we thought we may see the kitchen sink come out of the Beavers sideline in terms of play calling tonight. We've seen it a little bit so far, but tell you what, backed up that deep in your own territory, that's a big gamble.
And there's Jim Leavitt talking to Amadi. Jim Leavitt has been instrumental as well, and again, a former head coach, Willie Taggart, not only Jim Leavitt, who used to be the head coach at USF, but also Mario Cristobal, who was the head coach at FIU.
See if the Ducks try to take a shot. Instead, it's Red. Jet sweep. Red towards the end zone. And the Ducks are rolling.
Boy, the explosiveness of Jalen Red, and again, great vision. It's a great play call. Jet sweep again, and you know they just execute on the perimeter. Again, Willie Taggart has brought discipline to this program and a lot of team unity, and it's showing out tonight.
He said that was the one ingredient he felt like that was missing more than anything else. Discipline. And how about that Ducks offense? 5 consecutive possessions ending in touchdowns.
Well, I kind of get the feeling they like Jalen Redd a lot. Look at him just knife through. And again, the blocks in the perimeter. Dylan Mitchell with a touchdown block right there. Redd in for another Duck score.
38-7. And Thomas wisely watch that one sail through the end zone.
You know, execution of plays and blocking on the perimeter. Watch Charles Nelson on the inside. He's not only going to get one player, he's going to get two, and then you see Redd coming across on the jet sweep, but number 6 in the inside slot knocks down one and gets a second block on Redd's touchdown, and just tremendous. Watch him knock the first player down and then takes on a second. He's what, 5'8", 175 pounds.
And on senior night, old number 6 feeling pretty salty. Johnson, the new running back. 2-man route. Down the field goes Garrettson, and he's picked off. Thomas Graham picked him off. Third career interception for number 4 in green. And he'll tack on 22 yards with a return.
Well, they're getting a little greedy there. Garrettson throws into double coverage, and not a lot of good things happen when you're throwing deep into double coverage.
Interception. First down, Oregon.
Graham getting across. Pagano, the nose tackle, locks up the quarterback. He makes sure he's not going anywhere. He's not going to make a tackle against a 340-pounder.
Scott Pagano, the transfer from Clemson's battled injuries since his arrival to Eugene, but for Graham Jr., well, he's going to have a lot more of those coming. Tom, he started his last 10 games. 3 career picks in his first year. And the second straight possession for the Ducks that'll start inside the 40-yard line of Oregon State.
Well, and Thomas Graham and Jalen Redd played on the same high school team at Rancho Cucamonga. How's that? 2 playmakers for the Ducks, true freshmen.
Benoit, a little shake and bake on his first carry. And brought down inside the 20. There is a penalty flag on the field.
Illegal low block below the waist. Offense number 80. A 15-yard penalty. Replay, first down.
Yeah, Johnny Johnson's really not even in the play here. And he goes low and really didn't even get his man, but the referee's right on top of it. Nice call.
Well, first down and 6 after the penalty. Benoit keeps the play alive. Benoit off to the races. Shoved out short of the 5.
Kenai Benoit's been a little slowed down this year with an ankle injury, although he looks pretty healthy right there. Nice run.
Touchdown! Justin Herbert calls his own number. And the Ducks strike again.
Well, you gotta love the decisiveness of Justin Herbert on the RPO, and he just, he lets the play develop, and when he pulls it out, he's so fast and athletic. And it's not even a question whether he's going to get in the end zone. He got in almost before you could call it.
Tom, at practice this week, we certainly could sense the revenge on the mind of these Oregon players. They've been waiting for this game for almost a year, and it's showing so far.
Well, and Herbert just makes a really nice pull right there. He just sees the defensive end collapse, go the other way, pursuing the ball, and boy, it's an easy tuck under the arm for Herbert to just race into the end zone. And boy, I tell you, when he's at the controls, they are one explosive offense. It was a pretty glaring win, 48-28 over the Wildcats, and held Khalil Tate way under his rush average. And credit the defense a lot, but Justin Herbert was on fire last week. To have already 358 yards in the first half, pretty remarkable.
Well, I think that's the interesting debate. Does Miami control its own destiny, given the fact it could be facing #1 Clemson next weekend. Ryan Nall, the ball carrier, brought down by Mond. Prevails from the ACC. SEC fans will be watching as well, perhaps Pac-12 fans. As SC tries to get back into the playoff picture. A lot of things can change as Nall picks up 3. Beavers need a drive here. That's an understatement. Nall lassoed, corralled, down he goes. He's going to lose a couple. Justin Hollins got there first.
This line is coming lights out. They just get great push that time. And they're just controlling the line of scrimmage on both sides. You know, I talked about Mario Cristobal, the offensive line coach and coordinator for the Ducks. Joe Salavea is the defensive line coach for the Oregon Ducks, and he has been instrumental in getting them to play well.
Beavers 0 for the last 3 on 3rd down and short. Mitchell is not called for the fair catch and tripped up short of the 35. Taggart said, you know, we posted lowlights everywhere around the locker room where our team meets, convenes, has lunch, just to remind them lowlights of last year's setback to OSU.
And there's big Joe Salavea. You know, Roy, I've worked the Pac-12 conference for a long time. Joe Salavea was one of the best players. He played at Arizona under Dick Tomey, defensive tackle, had a nice 8-year career in the NFL. Just a tremendous player and a better person.
Alex Cortry has more.
Well, Roy, Tom, you all talk about the lowlights that Coach Taggart was playing around the football facility this week to remind his Ducks about what happened in last year's game. Taggart says it put a bad taste in everybody's mouth. His team knew how they felt the entire offseason. If they don't want to do that again, they're doing exactly what they've been wanting to do tonight, and you can tell they're not taking their foot off of the pedal. Now, as for an injury update, Oregon running back Tony Brooks was Brooks James was carted off the field. His status to return will be announced later.
Herbert, a deep toss, looking for Nelson. Good coverage out there, but Herbert too strong with a pass.
Well, you know, I don't know how you could show low lights on those high-def TVs that we were walking by, but there was some video going on, but constant reminders. Again, Willie Taggart there calling the plays on the sideline, not afraid to take yet another shot deep. And why wouldn't you with Herbert as your quarterback?
Under 5 to play here in the first half of the Civil War. And Herbert lost control of the snap.
Just flat out drops a snap. Just trying to get his eyes downfield, and that's the problem when you go in a shotgun formation. And, you know, we'll touch on this a little bit more, but Willie Taggart, you know, the quarterback he coached while at USF, Quentin Flowers, one of the great young men we covered this season earlier this year, and boy, what a special relationship those two have had.
First punt of the night for the Ducks, and Adam Stack as Hawkins watches it.
Well, you know, Roy, I don't want to say this, but I always get excited when I come to Oregon. Oregon's kind of at the center of the college football universe because you got Scott Frost, who was an offensive coordinator here at Oregon under Chip Kelly, who just took the UCLA job today. Scott Frost up for a number of jobs, but also coaching an 11-0 UCF team. And then you got Willie Taggart, who came from USF to Oregon because of his success and lineage in the Pac-12.
Tyner straight ahead, nowhere to run, no lanes open. Short pickup brought down by Jalen Jelks.
You haven't traveled a lot to the Pacific Northwest, but I think your eyes open this week when you see big-time Pac-12 football and what the Ducks represent on a national stage. And, you know, they have elevated their program over the number of years and just really do a great job from, you know, A to Z in their program.
Beavers need 8 on 2nd down. Garrettson rifles a shot, and it's incomplete. Beavers just 26 yards combined in their last 5 drives. Play action for Garrettson, looking long. Has a man running open, Hodgins, and it's incomplete as Garrettson was off the mark. Mitchell waiting the end-over-end punt. Wait for the fair catch. Ducks will take over.
There is no foul for running into the kicker.
Outstanding field position after a punt of just 26 yards.
First down, Oregon.
He's got a good team this year. Luke Falk, one of the top quarterbacks in the country as well.
Misdirection. Freeman lassoed by the shoestring. It's David Morris for a loss of a couple. Mike Leach, a great soundbite this week as Freeman takes it near side for a short pickup. He was asked by a reporter that's getting set to get married about what it's like dealing with the wedding preparations, if you will, and he went on a rant for about 5 minutes talking about how the bride-to-be was going to lose her mind. It was just all over the place. It went viral. Herbert flings it deep. Mitchell open. Touchdown Ducks! Yes, sir! Tom, there are receivers and running backs running wide open all over the football field tonight.
Well, everyone's getting a quick glimpse into the Heisman candidate for next year, Justin Herbert.
Almost 6'6". He can spin it. Cannon for an arm. Underrated Jets in terms of his legs. And the Ducks, 52-7.
And a 53-yard dart. Again, Justin Herbert, if he does one thing right now that's a little questionable, he might hang on to the ball just a shade long, but I think it's only to show his arm off, because that is a throw right there. That is a next-level throw, and great play by Dylan Mitchell. The excitement by Justin Herbert as they go over 50 points to 52 now, 52-7, and that's my first time scoring 50-plus points in a half since 2012 against the Buffs.
Now Herbert now with 3 touchdown tosses as advertised. We talked about him a lot in our open, and rightfully so. This guy got a chance to set the college football world on fire next year.
Well, he really does, and he's setting it on fire right now. They're going to go to a bowl game, likely the Cactus Bowl. Oregon talked about in the paper today that they may be the Pac-12 choice. Pac-12, of course, gets 7 teams contracted in, and they have 9 available to go.
Hawkins. They've been decked by his own man that was blocked into him. And some incredible hoops already taking place. Just over 2 to play. Beavers take over. And Garrettson watches that pass sail high. Well, a lot of ESPN talents.
Hey, good brewing, Bill Walton. What you doing up there? Just hanging out.
A little bit of everything.
Just hanging out.
Bill being Bill.
I didn't see the Grateful Dead with playing up there, so he's probably not up there for that. Of course he's up there for PK80.
Now celebrating the 80th birthday of Nike founder Phil Knight, and of course he's had a extremely large impact here at the University of Oregon. Second down for the Beavers out of the backfield. Quick strike. As Johnson, check that, Pierce with a grab.
Personal foul, laid it out of bounds. Defense number 31. A 15-yard penalty will be added into the play. First down.
Right at the end of I believe that's Troy Dye. Looked like he was trying to avoid the impact of the hit, but he definitely hit the ball carrier out of bounds, so the flag came out.
Ducks are averaging 9 penalties per game, already 5 tonight. Really doesn't matter with a 45-point advantage. Garrettson extending, flips it, caught by Johnson. Nearly crossed the line of scrimmage. A nifty play there.
At times when he gets some time to throw, he's pretty good. I just think the Ducks have been bringing relentless pressure the whole game, and they've really kind of jumped in some passing lanes as well.
Crowder's been in it from the opening snap. Batted down. Knocks that one away.
Well, Jelks has really been their impact player on the defensive line this year. He's had a tremendous year. 14.5 tackles for loss. 6 pass breakups before that one, and go along with 6.5 sacks.
Rough start for the Beavers on third down, as you would expect, just 1 for 6. And make it 2 for 7. Corey Hall's got to be wondering about this Oregon freight train that has trucked his Beavers program. Late flag on the field, looking for Tongiai, talented tight end, and Tyree Robinson in coverage interfered.
Pass interference, defense number 2. The ball will be placed at the spot of the foul with an automatic first down.
Watch where Robinson comes over the top. They get that arm on the backside, and it's really close that time.
Beavers with all 3 timeouts remaining and 1 minute and 12 seconds to work with. Threatening. They'll set up the screen. Went one way, send it back another. Troy Dye ready and waiting. As Xavier Hawkins made the catch, he's going to lose 4.
Boy, Dye is such a great vision guy. Keeps his eyes locked in the backfield. And we asked Jim Levitt yesterday what makes Troy Dye so good.
The first of the half. Be 30 seconds in length. Please reset the clock to 1:02. 1:02.
First time out taken by Oregon State. But Troy Dye, you know, he was a defensive back in high school. He went and became more of an outside linebacker. An outside linebacker last year, and then this year he moved inside, and Jim Levitt says he uses his hands so well, but it's his vision, Roy, that just enables him to make just play after play.
Yeah, it was a high school safety. Meanwhile, the Ducks on offense. Tell you what, Chip Kelly took the job at UCLA earlier today. The way they're playing tonight reminds you of the Chip Kelly teams here at Oregon from 2009 to 2012. 52 points, the most points scored in any half this year in the FBS.
Well, Chip Kelly in 4 seasons here at Oregon, he was 46 wins against only 7 losses. 7 losses in 4 years, and that's 2 Rose Bowls, a Fiesta Bowl, and a BCS championship game.
Across the middle, Hodgins has it, corralled quickly, and sent packing back at the 30 by Lenore.
I'd say Bruin fans are hysterically happy, and I would say the rest of the Pac-12 is guarded at best because they know what's coming.
Well, the conference got better today. Beavers 2 for 7 on third down. Garrettson nowhere to run and quickly corralled. Jonah Moy got there first. Time winding down. 4th down coming up here in our first half. I mean, this is what it reminds you of.
Timeout.
The glory days of Oregon football.
State, their second of the half.
And Oregon
30
State
seconds in length.
Has struggled this year, obviously, but still. They lost this game a year ago.
Yeah, they did. And, you know, Roy, I think Chip Kelly, his imprint across college football, because Scott Frost at UCF, a lot of what he does, he took from Coach Kelly, modified it a little bit, put his little stamp on it. I think Willie Taggart has been influenced by it. Again, it's that up-tempo pacing of offense, and you really get defenses to play on their heels. And it's great because now they got the noise meter going here at Autzen Stadium, so they're trying to ramp it up a little bit. Good fans here.
Jordan Schuker will attempt a 47-yarder. And the Ducks will call a timeout.
Oregon, the first of the half. Again, 30 seconds in length.
So here we are with a 45-point deficit facing Oregon State, and Willie Taggart says, you know what, we're going to ice their kicker. No let-up so far.
You know, it might drop a degree or two during the timeout. The temperature has been dropping a little bit. Corey Hall getting I don't want to say he's getting a chuckle out of it. He's just trying to keep his guys motivated. He has done an admirable job keeping the team afloat, but they have had one difficult year.
Nearly pulled off a shocking upset against Stanford. Competitive at Cal. Tried to rally last week against Arizona State. Schuker 3 for 4. The 40-yard range this year, and that one comes up short. And nothing going right for Corey Hall and the Beavers. 52 points. More than 400 yards of total offense. It should be the last play of the first half. Freeman takes off. Royce Freeman shoved out of bounds in Oregon State territory. That'll stop the clock. 31 times in his career he's gone over the century mark. Herbert looking deep. Surveying. And flings it. A short attempt, and it's ruled out of bounds. And now the Ducks will line up. He's showing a conservative formation.
Please reset the play clock to 25 seconds.
Chilly night in Eugene, but the Ducks offense has been red hot. Our score at halftime of the Civil War, 52-7. Of our second half. Great to have you along, as always. Tom Ramsey, Roy Philpott, Alex Cordry on the field, and 52 points in the first two quarters, the most points scored in any half in the FBS ranks this year. Oregon was dominant, as the score indicates.
Well, they look pretty darn good, don't they?
Yes.
Don't they, Roy? I mean, they got after it, both Justin Herbert passing the ball and Royce Freeman rushing the ball, producing over 431 yards of offense. And when you go get over 50 points for a game, that's great. In a half, it's pretty dominant. And Oregon State has just been trying to find answers all year long, and they can't find one tonight.
Well, we had to speed up the highlights to be able to get in everything from those first two quarters. Royce Freeman getting the job done. He scored twice. Justin Herbert accounted for 4 scores, including 3 through the air. And hold on tight. This will remind you of what you used to see in Eugene about 6 or 7 years ago.
This is good work by our production crew. And, they're jamming all the scores in, but you see they spread it out. Jalen Redd, the true freshman, Dylan Mitchell with 2 scores, Justin Herbert with 3 scores. And, the total yards, Roy, when you get over 431 yards, it's remarkable. But the yards per play, almost 10 yards per play.
Beavers will get the football first to begin our second half. And Hawkins brought down short of the 25. Check in for the first time in our third quarter with Alex Cordry. Alex?
Thank you, Roy. Well, even after scoring 52 points in the first half, Willie Taggart says we've got to keep it going. He added, we still have 30 minutes of football to play, and we always talk about finishing. He says we've already stepped on their throats, and we got to stay on it.
Well, some words of encouragement stake to this 45-point advantage in his first Civil War.
And he seems like such a nice guy.
He really does. I mean, in our meeting with him yesterday, he was so soft-spoken.
Conduct. Receiving team number 17, half the distance of the goal, first down.
Isaiah Hodgins.
Number 17, unsportsmanlike conduct.
A little chippy down there with our veteran officiating crew out of the Pac-12. But, he was so soft-spoken. We're all leaning in the boardroom, if you will, to make sure that we can hear what he's saying. But, he's kind of the silent assassin, if you will, at least tonight. Willie Taggart.
I love the coaches that molded him. Jack Harbaugh, of course, at Western Kentucky, where Willie Taggart was a quarterback. And who recruited him? Jim Harbaugh recruited Willie Taggart for his father to get him there on campus, and a record-setting quarterback at WKU, became an assistant there, played there, and then, of course, he went to South Florida for 4 years and had a lot of success.
Well, there's been a lot of rumors, too, this week with all the coaching changes taking place in college football. Would Florida or another school in the Deep South be interested in trying to bring him back to that area? And he's pretty much denied the majority of those reports, and he's very enthusiastic about what could be to come here in Eugene. You look at his quarterback and everything else he has returning next year. Why not, as Tyner takes it ahead to the 15 on second down and brought down by Troy Dye after a 1-yard pickup.
Yeah, direct snap to Ryan Nall, just to give it a little different look, a little different flavor, and then he hands the ball off to Tyner. And, again, they're not going to hold back anything, especially now that they're in the second half.
If you're Oregon State, what can you still accomplish here? Obviously, you want to close as strong as you can, but you're obviously not going to come back and win this game either, Tom.
Well, it's just pride right now. Pride is on the line, and you bring in state pride as well. You want to finish strong. If you're Oregon State, you want to finish strong. You don't want to roll over by any means.
5-man front for the Ducks. Here comes the pressure. Garrettson ahead to Hernandez right at the marker. They're going to rule him about a yard short based off the initial spot. Thomas Graham with a tackle.
Well, and those are just the mistakes, Roy, where, and boy, he was close. Graham made a nice job throwing him back. but they come up half a yard short and they have to punt it away, because you sure don't want to go for it here, not make it, and give Oregon the ball at the plus 21.
Beavers did score to make it 17-7 briefly.
Ruling on the previous play that the runner was short of the first down is under further review.
And where the ball was finally ruled down.
Now you see Hernandez slips a little bit, and that slip may have cost him. I think where he actually caught the ball and the point of forward progress will allow the Beavers a first down. Hernandez on the outside, you see where he stops beyond the yard marker, and it's, again, Roy, you said something earlier today, and some of these calls get to be very subjective, even though there's a lot of video to support or lend against a ruling, but, the referees are, trying to make calls the best they can. They don't always make the right call.
He needed to cross the 22, and the initial touch of the ball, he was past the 22-yard line, but Graham brought him down quickly. So you see there, it's got to be indisputable video evidence. I don't know if that's it or not. Again, the subjectivity. Can you determine with certainty that he was across the 22 as he maintained possession?
Well, and again, for a receiver, you're going to have forward progress, and so someone is determining that.
The ruling on the field stands. Fourth down.
So that evidence did not exist to overturn the call. Orebsky on to punt this one away. Mitchell with a fair catch. 44-yard punt. Ducks will take over for the first time in our second half, leading by 45. Royce Freeman, the senior running back, setting numerous records in his Oregon career, was recruited back here to Eugene after Willie Taggart took over, and right now the 115 rush yards in the bank. He's moved in to 6th place all time with over 5,600 yards on the ground in his career. And look at those names.
Boy, Charlie White, the old San Fernando High Flash, Southern Cal product. I mean, he had a remarkable career. When you're in that crowd, that's an elite crowd.
And Freeman will add a couple to that ledger there. Pickup of 3 ahead to the 40. Wilson the stop.
I still think the most remarkable stat, he came into tonight's game 30 times, and now he's got the 31st 100-yard plus game of his career. But, boy, he's played in some big games. And, Justin Herbert yesterday talked about him and just said, he's such a steady guy and influence and leader on the team. And I think he's been a great role model for the Oregon Ducks.
Dropped by Nelson. It'll bring up 3rd down and 7.
Complete forward pass, 3rd down.
And Willie Taggart gave us 3 words yesterday on Royce Freeman, and it was fantastic. He simply said, "That's my guy. That's my guy." And you could see the twinkle in his eye, reciting the story how he re-recruited Freeman to come back for his final year. Trip down to Southern California to make that happen. And Freeman on the way back to the car as Taggart was heading off to travel back to Florida told him, "Coach, I'm coming back." And he raised his hands to the sky, celebrating the big win because it meant so much as Breland barrels his way ahead into plus territory. The Ducks on the move again.
Well, now 6 of 9 on 3rd down, the Ducks, and they just find the open spot. Herbert tonight on 3rd down passing, 6 of 6.
The money down, he's been perfect. Benoit, first carry of the second half, drugged down after a loss of 4 by Wesley Payne.
Benoit had a couple nice gains in the first half, 47 yards on a couple carries. I thought Jalen Redd in the first half, boy, he was explosive. We talked about it at halftime, how fast he is. And true freshman, Rancho Cucamonga High. Willie Taggart, I tell you, when he came on board last year, he got on the recruiting road immediately, and he got some guys. The big nose tackle, too, Jordan Scott, started the game tonight, has had a really nice year.
Jet sweep, Taj Griffin. A little shake and bake, a burst of speed ushered out at the 35.
Yeah, they like using the jet sweep. They get out on the edge extremely quick. And then, of course, the downfield blocking is just wonderful.
Benoit jumps over the line of scrimmage on 3rd and short. Needed 1. Picked up 2. From the 33. Pump fake. Herbert looking. And rifles that one out of bounds. For number 21. Misdirection. And Freeman, a punishing run. Down to the 28, a gain of 5. Willis the stop, and this guy explodes through the hole, Tom.
Yeah, and I think they'll leave their starters in for at least this series, Roy. But again, you just watch the execution up front. They end up great line scheme right there. Guard pull. They have a nice kick out, and then Royce Freeman, he just lowers his shoulder pads, and low man always wins.
To the postseason and where this Ducks program could end up. We've seen projections of the Cactus Bowl, others out west. Griffin, explosive player. And the senior shoved out of the 22. That'll move the chains. Hicks Onu. And of course, bowl games, a lot of times, Tom, you know, it launch your program into next year. Play action. And as Nelson makes a grab and will pick up a couple.
Well, and we've traveled the country this year. The good programs count on going to a bowl, and it's because you get the extra 2 weeks of practice. Yeah, it might impact your recruiting a little bit. You don't get out on the road as much, but yet if you're scheduling recruits visits at the right time, hopefully you got those guys nailed down, and it's really those extra practice days.
There goes Hubert, slides in safely after picking up a first down. 1st and goal from the 9.
Well, and Herbert, that's great self-preservation there. You know how I like a guy that, he's been hurt earlier this year. He's sliding, and he said, sliding's okay. I was a baseball player. I'm pretty good at that. And I thought that was good. He's a big guy. He could probably take it on, too.
Ducks have been perfect in the red zone tonight. Slow developing play, and the jet sweep is brought down for a loss of yards. Late penalty flag. Charles Nelson was the ball carrier, and it was Jalen Moore who likely is going to get the unsportsmanlike conduct. Referee tonight has been very busy.
After the play, personal foul, late hit. Defense number 32. Pass the distance to the goal with an automatic first down.
And that was Moore wearing 33, not 32.
Yeah, you just got to keep the emotions in check, and right there, whistle blows, you're wrapped up. You don't need the excessive throw to the ground move.
And Willie Taggart told us this week that he had some of his scout team players engaged in some extracurricular activity in practice over the course of the week just to get ready for the chippy nature of this rivalry. And a couple of times it almost came down to little fisticuffs during practice, and finally, Willie Taggart told his scout team players, hey, this is what we're trying to do intentionally. Let his first team unit know we're doing this to get you ready for this game. And it kind of calmed things down quickly, but no stone has been left unturned with this program entering this matchup tonight. Empty backfield as Freeman motions in. Hubert has it. Rifles one, incomplete, and too much mustard on that pass. Cam McCormick is tied in. Almost out of self-defense, batted that one away.
Well, and I thought he was going to come all the way back across the field and throw it to Royce Freeman, because Royce Freeman was standing all by himself. And, yeah, this ball comes hard and fast from about 10 yards away, and it's on top of McCormick before he can even catch it.
Looked like Matthew Stafford there for a moment with that little three-quarter delivery.
Yeah.
Coming down.
Kind of a little look-away throw.
Hubert perfect on 3rd down tonight, 6 for 6 towards the end zone. And incomplete, a late penalty flag near the 10, and we'll check the marker.
Ineligible player downfield. Offense, number 84 was covered at the end of the line. Now penalties decline, 4th down.
So Cam McCormick he had a man outside lined up on the line of scrimmage, made him an ineligible receiver.
Hayden Schneider, the senior from Portland. Well, what a career he's had here in Eugene. 3rd-team All-American 2 years ago. 86% for his career. This one a 25-yard effort. And on senior night, Schneider remains perfect. 55-7.
I saw that piece on Matt Ryan. Do you see that?
He's kind of crafty enough to pull that off. And nowhere to run ahead of the 7-yard line. We take a look back now with our Buick Drive recap. And who else? Justin Herbert accounting for 4 touchdowns tonight, doing a little bit of everything, Tom.
Well, when Justin Herbert starts for the Ducks, they average over 49 points a game, and Justin Herbert has been instrumental in the success tonight. Of course, the first touchdown to Dylan Mitchell, and then a bullet to the tight end, Jacob Breland, and then he took one himself on zone read and just making great decisions so far tonight. 13-23, 251 yards, 3 touchdowns for Herbert.
And he's made it look easy as the Beavers take over. No gain. Justin Hollins the stop. And nowhere to run for Ryan Nall, who's had very big performances in the Civil War game the last 2 years. And Herbert, a baby-faced assassin. Man, this guy, all kinds of potential, especially going into next year.
I like what Willie Taggart said about him. His leadership has started to come out, and it was funny. I was talking to Michael Johnson, the receivers coach, before the game, and I asked him a little bit about Justin and his leadership. He said, "Yeah, Tom, you know what his leadership ability is?" And he pointed to his right arm. He said, "This is his leadership ability." And I was like, well, that is a pretty big factor when you have that right arm slinging balls all over the place.
Leadership by example.
Yeah.
The cannon of an arm for Justin Herbert.
Well, he's balanced, though, and he's a nice young kid. I was watching a video of one of his pressers the other day, and one of the beat writers said, "Hey, how did you heal so quick?" And he said, "Chocolate milk, of course." and the whole room broke out in laughter, but he deadpanned it really well.
Chocolate milk healing damaged collarbones to get you back on the field. Nall motions out on 3rd down. Garrettson batted down. Jelks got there, and it's picked off. And the Ducks with a pick 6. Justin Hollins. Well, 61 on the board, Tom.
Well, when the defense scores, it becomes a rout, Roy. And Jalen Jelks, number 97, he's batted several passes down tonight. Justin Hollins, the outside linebacker, grabbing the ball out of the air, taking it in for the score, and the Ducks now over 60 points. Well, if Garrettson's 6 foot, I'm 6'4", so that'll tell you where he's at.
Look back at some of the all-time greats. Wear an Oregon State uniform. Nothing great about tonight's performance. And tell you what, Oregon Ducks going to be hurting this time tomorrow. I don't even think he's going all the way down on those push-ups. And good reason, 62 on the board. And right now, Tom, the Ducks very close to setting a number of team records.
I wouldn't go all the way down either.
You see it, the most points scored in this rivalry back in 08, 65, largest margin of victory at 44. And right now, Oregon State trails by 55, the double nickel.
Student section going off. My daughter might be down there. Daughter Tatum, freshman at Oregon.
Offside. Kicking team number 53. That 5-yard penalty will be added from the touchback spot. First down.
Well, and Roy, it's also the way you lose sometimes. They got caught by surprise last year, and then the unfortunate thing is the staff was relieved of their duties. And, so the players do feel, they feel the onus is on them sometimes. I mean, when coaches get relieved of their duties, it's tough. And it's happened to a lot of teams and programs thus far this year already.
Thomas Tyner brought down by Lenore. After a 1-yard gain, the former Duck greeted the chorus of boos. Anderson, almost in the middle of the night, said, "You know what, I'm walking away from this job." Walked away from $12 million left on his contract, and Corey Hall took over, and he said, "You know what, no one knew what Coach A was thinking before he made that decision." He surprised everybody in Corvallis, and Hall's doing the best he can, given the hand that he's been dealt.
Prior to the snap, timeout. Oregon State. Their first of the half.
And the same thing to his arch rival tonight, former walk-on, which is hard to believe.
He's a slippery bugger, isn't he?
He gets after it on second down. Tyner spun around, driven down. Elijah George got there with 3 of his teammates after a 1-yard loss. Coordinator Bo Baldwin. We'll see if there's anything to that, and certainly there's other candidates. Baldwin, of course, the former Eastern Washington head man, and now
after the play, personal foul, unnecessary roughness, defense number 10, a 15-yard penalty with an automatic first down.
That's Ty Griffin, the guilty party, so a first down for the Beavers. And
Scott Barnes, the athletic director at Oregon State, has some candidates by which to choose in the Pac-12. Bo Baldwin, as you mentioned, one of them. Eastern Washington, record-setting, very successful head coach there.
You have to think, too, an offensive mind would make sense in Corvallis to try to get the program back on track. Open is Bradford. Pass is caught inside the 20.
Well, and Garrettson really took a shot as he threw the ball, and he's still down. Heck of a throw and a heck of a catch.
Personal foul, roughing the passer with targeting, defense number 91. Half the distance of the goal with an automatic first down. By rule, that play will be reviewed.
Banged up. Marcus McMarion transferred to Fresno State 1 week into camp. And a high hit by George.
Yeah, that's really the definition of targeting. You can't come high into the neck, shoulder, and head area. See him come off the block, and then he's up high into the head and neck area.
Head went down a little bit with the crown area in play. Garrettson walking off the field under his own power, so that's good news.
After review, the ruling on the field is confirmed. Number 91 is disqualified. First down.
So that means George also will now miss the first half of the Ducks bowl game.
Well, if you're going to take over the ball anywhere on the field, not bad to take it down, take over inside your own 10-yard line.
Hand off to Nall, straight ahead to the 5.
Steady dose of Ryan Nall right here.
Bottled up. Justin Hollins had the pick 6 moments ago.
I think it's Nall once again inside.
Ducks showing pressure, 5-man front. Nall motions out, and here it comes. Screen pass, and Nall, that play was doomed from the onset. It was a forward pass. It will be ruled incomplete. Officially a 24-yard effort. Shuker missed from 47 earlier. His father kicked in the NFL, John, and Shuker connects. I know that I'm resilient, and I know that I'm going to get better and learn a lot from this experience. Dropped by Nelson, and a hard collision. Check that, Taj Griffin. It's as if Willie Taggart going to bring in a new quarterback, Braxton Burmeister, who filled in for the injured Justin Herbert. He suffered that collarbone injury. And so it appears Justin Herbert's night is done. Benoit left side. And a gain of 9 on first down. And Alex Cordry has more on the injured Oregon State quarterback.
Daryl Garrettson right now is going through concussion protocol. Also, another update on Oregon State wide receiver Jordan Villeman. He is out of this game with a concussion.
Well, the bad news mounting up. What will be the Beavers' last game of this 2017 campaign and their 10th loss in a row. He has 2 years to play with the Bulldogs, who have turned their season around, their program around in just 1 year under Jeff Tedford. Obviously with his Pac-12 ties at Cal. And McMarion's done a great job at Fresno State protecting the football. They got a chance to win the Mountain West Conference Championship next week against Boise State. So you lose him a week into camp. Your head coach checks out about halfway through the season, and Gary Anderson, and all the goodwill that was built up last year by the Beavers. Fresno State did defeat Boise State earlier today as well. We'll face the Broncos again next week. strangely enough. But
that game, that Mountain West Championship game, carried by ESPN.
Burmeister escapes. Mitchell, did he get a foot in bounds? They'll say that he did, but just short of the 42, which is the line he needed to gain. That's a gain of 6.
Go for it here on 4th.
Burmeister was headed to Arizona before the new staff took over here in Eugene. Benoit will move the sticks ahead to midfield.
You know what I like about that play, Roy? There was not even a hesitation whether or not they were going to go for it. And you get an up-tempo, quick snap, and then Benoit just hits the hole going 100 miles an hour and gets enough for the first down.
And Benoit brought down after a 2-yard pickup. Well, you wonder what Oregon's season would have looked like had Herbert stayed healthy for those 5 games. A lot of people would tell you this team probably could have won 8, 9 games. Who knows?
Well, and this is what I know. When you're scoring 49-plus points, you're going to beat a lot of people, Roy. And when he's out of the game, you're scoring 15. Big delta.
Well, a record-setting night for the Ducks. Welcome back to ESPN College Football Primetime, part of the Jiffy Lube Rivalry Series. Now the picture tells you the story. 62-10, and Oregon on track for the biggest win in the history of the Civil War. And the Ducks with possession. Justin Herbert out of this one. Burmeister in. And he's brought down behind the line for a sack, so a rare stop for the Beavers will bring up 4th down. No stack on the field for just the 2nd time tonight. Hernandez back deep. A lot of people talking about Auburn's win in the Iron Bowl earlier. Clemson controlling South Carolina as we speak.
I think Clemson would be the number 1 team. You know, Wisconsin's going to finally get into that top 4. I've had Wisconsin and Auburn as my 5 and 6 since the poll started, and I'm actually happy to see them both in now.
I think the interesting dilemma for the committee, Auburn lost at Clemson 14-6 way back in week 2, but Tom, I think now Auburn clearly a better team with Jarrett Stidham at quarterback, developing in Gus Malzahn's offense, with Chip Lindsey calling plays. It's a different team now. Would that be enough to move a 2-loss program to number 1? I don't think so, but I think this is a debate that'll be held within the committee room.
Yeah, sure. I bet you they touch all those points, Roy. And listen, Alabama. I kind of interested to see what Nick Saban has to say, but he'll probably blame it on some of the media pundits for putting them so high.
Johnson corralled and driven backwards. Appears to be the winner of the Pac-12 North and will face SC in the Pac-12 championship game. And, of course, that's assuming Washington State doesn't mount a furious comeback. They had rallied from 3 scores down earlier this year. Moran fires it, and it's going to be picked off. Jawan Williams, 17 and green, and now they're going to rule it incomplete.
Yeah, I think Williams dropped it. He's going to, as much as he wanted to believe, he caught it.
Rolling on the field is incomplete pass. 4th down.
Jawan Williams, settle down. Don't get quite as excited. But he did jump in front of that Mason Moran ball. A little errant, a little late, and bad things happen when the ball comes out late.
Please reset the play clock to 25 seconds.
Largest margin of victory in this series, 44 points. It's occurred twice. Both wins by Oregon. Right now, a 52-point advantage. Most points scored by a single team in this Civil War rivalry, 65. That was 9 years ago. That record also in jeopardy, as the punt ruled dead at the 46. And that'll certainly be very interesting as Taylor Alley checks in, the 3rd-team quarterback for Oregon for the first time. And Alabama now with 1 loss is going to be interesting to watch as well. Crimson Tide will not play in the SEC championship game against Georgia. That'll be Auburn.
That's the big question, Roy. When you're not playing in the championship game, it's that 1 extra game. And if Auburn lines up and plays Georgia and I mean really dominates that game, I mean Alabama's not going to get in anywhere.
Well, you wonder, too, what would happen if Miami beats Clemson. And then also, of course, like we all figured back in August, Wisconsin is the only undefeated team remaining out of a Power 5 conference. So the Badgers are right there ready and waiting. They shut out Minnesota tonight.
Well, and I'm going to keep banging the drum for UCF.
And Benoit is off to the races for Oregon. And what a way for his senior campaign to conclude. A 47-yard scoring scamper, and that touchdown means that Oregon has put up more points tonight than any team in the history of the Civil War rivalry, breaking its own record established back in 2008 of 65.
Well, Kenai Benoit, 47-yard jaunt. I'll just call that, because he hits the hole and really no one's there on the second level.
Ninth play, going 20 yards or further this evening. Schneider, also a senior. 69 on the board for the men in green. Now the Oregon Ducks in control of the Civil War. Another touchdown on the board. Back here in Eugene, Tom Ramsey, Roy Philpott, Alex Cordry. Great to have you along with us. And tell you what, Oregon doing exactly what it wanted to, exacting revenge after the Civil War setback in Corvallis last year. And the Ducks have really beaten Oregon State in every way imaginable.
They opened up the can. That's what Oregon did. They opened up the can tonight, and no, they didn't forget that game, Roy. And, you know, anytime you put up over 500 yards of total offense, it's impressive. But I thought, you know, we talked at the break, Royce Freeman, just spectacular tonight, putting up a new Pac-12 rushing TD number. And also Justin Herbert really, I think, establishing himself as not only a leader of this Oregon team, but he's throwing his name in the hat for a Heisman contender for next year. And again, they have a bowl game to look forward to now, likely the Cactus Bowl for this Oregon Duck team. And boy, credit that man right there, Willie Taggart.
And the quiet confidence of the Ducks' new leader. Straight ahead and no gain on the play. Troy Dye brought him down.
And then Steven Montez, I think, you know, living in Denver, I see a lot of Montez. I think he's a remarkable young player. Big arm. He kind of reminds me of Herbert a little bit. Those guys can throw it anywhere on the field. And boy, when you get the ball deep in this conference, you know, you got the fast guys on the perimeter, but Herbert has really established himself, and I think established himself tonight.
Malik Young brought down Artavis Pierce on that last play. And, you know, let's be clear about this as well. Oregon State is going to end its 2017 season having lost 10 consecutive games. So the Beavers have struggled this year, and people get that. Herbert's numbers, impressive, but if you look over the course of his entire season when healthy, and he's just a sophomore, Oregon, when he's on the field, is averaging about 50 points per contest. When he's not, it's a totally different story. He's a leader by example. He's emerging vocally. And you think about another offseason working in this offense, he's only going to get better, and that's a scary thought next year in the Pac-12 North.
There's the big numbers, right? I mean, points per game with him, you're right, after tonight's game, it's over 50 points, and without, the delta is just massive. Passing yards per game, you know, when I'm looking at Charles Nelson's numbers and Dylan Mitchell's numbers, the top receivers for Oregon, their numbers were really low. Well, it was because they had a backup to the backup quarterback playing, and, you know, Burmeister just doesn't get the ball down the field near as well as Herbert.
Mitchell, we'll watch that one be ruled down to the 36. 69-10. Your eyes do not deceive you if you're just tuning in. It's been all Oregon. Felix, right side, brought down for a loss of 4.
Personal foul, grasping the face mask. Defense number 23. 15-yard penalty with an automatic first down.
Notre Dame and Ohio State, Auburn, the 3 two-loss teams. Auburn the best position to still have a chance to go to the playoff.
Yeah, because they're playing in a championship game, and I think that has to be the high point for them. I mean, right, what do you have to guard against? The letdown. I mean, the build-up for the Alabama game, you beat them, but now it's all of a sudden you go, oh, wow, okay, now it's another game. Now it's a championship game, and is that a home game for Georgia? You'd think so.
Yeah. Jet sweep, Griffin the senior. 2 flags on the field. Chip Lindsey, the OC.
Block. Offense number 40. Back towards the original position of the ball. 15-yard penalty, second down. Play game. Offense. 5-yard penalty. Still second down.
Well, Badgers are the only Power 5 undefeated team left, so certainly that means something. McNeil goes in motion. And Ali rifles one far side. Or Laundry around the 42.
Foul. Shot block. Offense number 89. A 15-yard penalty. Second down.
Darren McNeil, guilty party. So
don't lie. You know what's interesting, Roy? I was looking before today's game. I mentioned to you, I've liked Wisconsin all year. I think Paul Chryst has done a great job with his team, and they've gone undefeated. I think Scott Frost, for a team that's non-Power 5, boy, they have played well. And his quarterback, Mackenzie Milton, I'm saying put that quarterback in the Heisman talk. But the old Sagarin ratings, Jeff Sagarin, those ratings that used to determine the BCS participants. Well, Sagarin has Wisconsin number 2.
Well, thank God that doesn't happen anymore.
See? Well, no, I'm with you on that. I like what the committee comes up with, but there's still a human element. When you look at this, you go, strength of schedule is important. Wisconsin's playing the same strength of schedule as anyone else, though. I mean, okay, so some teams are down, some are up. It's a year-to-year thing.
Shutout win against Minnesota earlier today. That was impressive. Wins over Northwestern, Michigan, and you're going to get Ohio State in the Big Ten championship game. So there's a lot to happen. That can happen, rather, for the Badgers between now and then. And look, I think Tuesday they're going to be in the top 4, no doubt about that.
And maybe it's a Ohio State team minus J.T. Barrett.
Yeah, it was banged up today in that win, a comeback win, no less, against Michigan. Approaching 5 minutes to play here in the Civil War. All Oregon. And Hernandez upended at the 15. Another flag comes out. Now the Ducks already with 138 penalty yards tonight.
After the play, personal foul, unnecessary roughness. Return team number 33. After the goal, first down. Timeout.
Tom Ramsey, Roy Philpott, Alex Cordry. And a punishing run straight ahead. Tom, we were tipped off about 2 months ago by a head coach. And he said, you know what, Roy and Tom, there's going to be more turnover in the coaching ranks this year than we've seen perhaps in the last decade or two, as you see the resume for Chip Kelly. That's a really nice fit, I think, down at Westwood.
Yeah, Chip Kelly is going to bring a lot of excitement, going to put people back in the seats. And I think more importantly, Roy, it's going to give them a boost of confidence, even with Josh Rosen potentially leaving for the NFL draft, a high likelihood of that. But Chip Kelly just brings excitement, and he's an innovator with offensive football, and his mantra is efficiency. And I think when the one aspect I've looked at UCLA in the last couple of years under Jim Mora, they were not efficient. They weren't efficient on defense. They weren't efficient on offense. They had an atrocious run game last year. It was last. I mean, when you're 129 in all of FBS, and then this year they couldn't stop the run, they were last at 129. Something's got to happen, and I credit Dan Guerrero and Senior Associate Athletic Director Josh Rebholz to make it happen. And a good thing Troy Aikman got involved too. That was good to see him involved on that.
Not too shabby. Well, I think Chip Kelly brings a brand on offense.
Yeah.
I think a certain level of toughness on both sides of the football, and he'll get it figured out.
Well, you like that. You like the identity. When you ask coaches, what's your identity? And if they hesitate for a moment, you're like, they don't have one. And I think you're right on. I think Chip Kelly does bring a very distinct identity.
Well, we mentioned the coaching carousel. It is spinning around and around as we take a look at the FBS vacancies. The coaching hotel, Corey Hall taking over. Matt Luke, who's done a nice job for Hugh Freeze. Change down in Statesboro, Georgia, at UTEP, as well as Mike Price re-enters the mix. Brady Hogan for Butch Jones. And we mentioned UCLA. Brett Bielema was told as he was walking off the field yesterday against Missouri that his days in Fayetteville were done. And, of course, the change in Nebraska. Mike Riley, he's out.
Yep, and Mike Riley, I'm sure some will speculate he may go back to Oregon State. He seems to have done well over the years. He grew up in Corvallis, Alex Grady used to hop the fence and get the games as a kid. Listen, I don't know. Mike Riley's a gentleman. I thought Brett Bielema handled his dismissal as well as anyone could. He had never been let go in his entire coaching career. And he said, I know this. The people around me are better, and I'm better too from having been here. And I think that's when someone can stand up in front of a room full of reporters and say that, that's a prideful guy.
And on 3rd and long, a scamper near side produces a first down in college football. Well, as we approach a minute to play, a shout out to our hardworking crew. And a very big win for the Oregon Ducks. Largest margin of victory in the history of the Civil War.
It is kind of fun to sit around on a Thanksgiving Day weekend and watch a lot of football. Humidity up here.
A little bit. And a very big win tonight for Willie Taggart and the Oregon Ducks. Largest margin of victory in the history of this great rivalry. Final score tonight from Eugene, 69-10. The Ducks improve to 7-5. Oregon State falls to 1-11.